All right. How do I get out of this? Hold on one second. Okay, cool. All right. All set.
I have our stream open just to see as well.
Yeah, me too. Hey guys,
Okay.
who's in the chat? Say what's up.
We're super fuzzy. Oh no, we're so back. We're so back.
I don't know why it's fuzzy.
When I look straight, does it look weird? Okay, no, I have to look straight. Okay, I'm not looking. I'm not looking at. Okay, cool. Hello, chat. Did you hear how they added kind of like the phrase like referring to chat as like an actual thing? Like, like people say that in real life, and I think they added that as like
Oh yeah?
something part of the dictionary
Really?
in terms of yeah,
That's really
like
funny. I
yeah,
can't
like
believe that's like an
referring to chat.
actual like term. Like that's kind of
I
crazy
know,
actually.
I know.
So well, like
Like
is it just but is it still referencing streaming or is it now like just a different like more general
I
context?
I think it's still referencing streaming, but like they referenced it as like a way to refer to like like a large group of people. I have to look it up, but someone pointed out that it's like the perfect way of speaking in like second person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
That was funny like the last time when we were recording in person and you were like I was like what did I say? I said like let us know in the chat and you were like it's so surreal like to actually say that and to know that we actually have a chat.
Yeah, yeah. Like actually saying chat and then it's an actual group of people and not just memeing, which is awesome.
Yeah, chat
Um
is this real is now a meme
yeah,
phrase.
yeah. Chat is this real? But then it's like for real.
But for real, chat is this real? Actually, is this real? We finally got Shah to start the big three. That's kind of
I've
crazy.
been
This is
It's
surreal.
kind of one. It's gonna be tough not making my main personality trait not having read the big three, but I'll just try and invent a new personality at this point.
I
So
mean,
it's been
you can kind of ride that personality trait, I think, until we've read pretty much until One Piece. Like
yeah,
until like
okay.
we've
And it
gone
can
to
be
the
I
third.
haven't read One Piece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like it could
yeah,
be like the overall framing is she hasn't read the big three and we're making our way. So we can't really say you've read the big three until you've read all three. So
yeah. That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
so we're still good. We can still ride it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been kind of bamboozling everyone, and I've been reading Bleach behind the scenes, but I haven't been posting about it, which I know is a surreal concept for me. Is talking about doing something and not talking about it.
Yeah, it's tough, and I
Um,
and I and I thank you for it.
yeah. So actually
We
saving
have the
something.
exclusive right here. Shaw's
We have the
exclusive
exclusive.
thoughts. Although I'm sure it's
Um,
gonna make it to tweet form like shortly after this.
I had to tweet one thing. I had to tweet a few things. Because there was one chapter title that was like really funny. So I had to like share that, of course. But now I kept this arc, I think was kind of easy to keep on the lowdown, which I'm not saying in like a negative way. It was just kind of easy to like get into the be sneaky about it. Um like you already have JJK fan getting into the big. That's kind of true. Let's do. It's like going back to it's like looking at like a family tree and like going back through like all your ancestors.
JJ
I guess
can't.
that's kind of what this is.
Yeah, JJK fan looking back to see the inspirations, the
Yeah,
influences.
who started the story?
She
You
went
know?
back to look at the citations.
Yeah.
All right, so I think like let's get into it. I'm like excited because I have not read Bleach in years. I was like reading it like weekly when it was coming out,
Yeah.
and then I actually never finished it. So me and Shaw were talking about it, and we were like, would it be cool if we like you finally read the big three and like we revisited it, and then we were like we just decided to go for Bleach since I also never finished it. So I'm kind of like interested to
Oh,
yeah. So I'm
I
like
didn't know you didn't finish it. That makes
no,
sense.
I dropped it at the end, like right at the beginning of the very last arc. I was just like, yeah, I'm
Okay.
good, and so like I just never went back. Uh,
Yeah.
and I had like a friend that was like still reading it, so he would kind of like fill me in on like the general vibe of like how it's going, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I lost interest, and so like I'm kind of curious to see like obviously like what your takes are end up being as we're reading it and like catching up, and then like how I feel about it, and like because I feel like I also viewed things a little differently back then, and now like I'm paying attention to a few more details, so I'm curious to see how it'll hold up on reread.
Yeah. And I think in general, like I think reading something in a binge, also especially when it's all done, is like a completely different
Yeah,
experience than reading it weekly. Um,
yeah,
so you like because you read something weekly and it's just sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. There's a lot going on, and you also have no idea of like where the end in sight is. Where I feel like it's helpful when you know like how much is left to
yeah.
kind of like conceptualize everything, including like expectations. So I'm in general like binger over weekly reading in general. So I'm
Very
happy to
true.
be
Yeah,
I'm happy to be at the binge part of this. And I've seen, so I guess to start off, like, Bleach is, of course, a very infamous series in the anime community because it's one of the big three, but it's also, I feel like it's kind of the least well received of the big three. And I
yeah,
think it used to be, you had the joke, you have to repeat the joke. It's like how long it takes to read each
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah,
Please, no, we
yeah.
have to repeat. You have to say that
I
again because
even
it's,
said that to you at one point because
yeah.
it's funny, but
It is, and
yeah.
but that's the reputation it also has. So like to repeat it, well, you got to repeat it for everyone, so we can, if you end up loving it a lot more, we can go back and talk about how funny
Let
it
me
is
see
to
if I have
reference
like
things.
a very thick book laying around. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know, like reading Bleach is like it's like you have like this thin like book like piece of paper next to like this incredibly. I think no, I'm sorry, that wasn't the joke. I'm thinking of
no,
something
it was.
else. No,
It's
sorry, yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
sorry,
like
yeah, yeah.
One Piece chapter is like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Bleach
Naruto
is
chapter is five
5 minutes,
minutes,
and
and then
Bleach is a
Bleach
few
is
clicks.
yeah,
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 yeah. That's what it was. Sorry, I was thinking
yeah.
of
That
something
was the
else.
joke. And that was the like reputation kind of had as like an all style no substance
Yeah,
series. That's at least what I've heard. And in the past couple of years, even before they announced the Thousand Year War anime, I've seen kind of like pushback to that notion, and it's been kind of like actually the style is the substance, and also like
yeah,
here's all the subtext that you're overlooking. And I think it's kind of interesting to see it kind of get more of a reputation of like, people are able to see things, big fans are able to see things that like casual fans haven't really seen as much. And like in part that might be because like everyone was reading it weekly for years when they were kids, and then like people revisited it, or I don't know. But it's been kind of cool to see the change in perception. And I'm always going to be team over analyzing, over nothing happens kind of thing.
yeah.
Like I like when people can see more than I can and explain it, and then maybe I see it differently. So I'm always going to be team that, even if I don't like it as much as them.
Yeah, no, that makes
So
sense, and it's
yeah.
really cool that like Bleach has come back in the discourse, and we can kind of like be
Hmm.
motivated to revisit it like this. So for you, reading it for the first time, and for me, like revisiting it and kind of like seeing what's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I get that whole sentiment. Like I literally just watched a movie last night about like kind of nothing like for 2 hours, but like I knew it was saying something, so I was just like, all right, I know this is saying something, but it was like
Yeah.
the dude's like repetitive daily life, and like it was the same day, like it wasn't endless eight, but it was like the same routine, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
well, it's definitely getting to something. If you could easily sit here and be like, this doesn't mean anything, but I'm like, something's trying to be conveyed. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, enough of that. So should we play the intro? It's been a while.
Yep. Sure.
Yeah, why not? Let's get into it. So intro. Okay, I played it because I kind of missed it. All right, so I'm Onimaru here with Shaw. We're officially kicking off our Big Three arc with Bleach, and we're going to talk about kind of like the first arc. We're going to go arc by arc. So This is the Agent of the Shinigami arc, and it's the first 70 chapters of Bleach. And we're gonna try to see like we're probably gonna cover all of it in this like stream. If not, we'll do as much as we can, and if not, we'll continue it on a subsequent stream. So we kind of gave a little background as to like Bleach's reputation and stuff like that. Let's just start talking about it. What are your like overall like I guess impressions, like maybe even of just the first few chapters of Bleach?
It's interesting because so like naturally Bleach came out in like the early 2000s. We were both alive in the early 2000s, and we were in like first, like we can remember the early 2000s is what I'm getting at, which I've realized I might have to say is like a distinguisher because people were born after that time now, and it's kind of weird to think about. So I remember the vibe of like early 2000 shows because like even though I didn't grow up reading and watching Bleach, I still watched its contemporaries, like Pokemon, Sailor Moon, like Yu-Gi-Oh, and it had a lot of that style, especially the beginning chapters. Like you can even see in like our like the background of like our image, like how geometric Ichigo is. It's like he's like very like
Yeah.
can't think of a better word besides geometric. Like everyone's kind of pointy, and that was a very big style back in the early 2000s. Is like everyone's kind of pointy, and so I was kind of shocked by how different it looks from like the modern image of Bleach I know of, where everyone's a bit sleeker and rounder.
Yeah.
Which is like the art style has just evolved a lot.
Yeah,
So it's
going
interesting.
back to the beginning of Bleach is a little rough. It's a little bit,
Yeah,
it's a little jarring, because you're used to seeing the out of context, like the sexy, sleek looking like panels, and you go back to the first two
yeah,
chapters, and it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of, it does look like the late '90s kind of anime, early 2000s, but
yeah.
it's interesting to see how quickly though it evolves because it doesn't even like stay like that, like for like
Yes.
that first few chapters. Look, and like I think after like 3 or so volumes.
Yeah. It's cool to see. It definitely feels like, like this is the time. One thing I have to give a shout out to Radman, who's one of the biggest Bleach fans I know. Thanks for joining us in chat. Definitely have to give a shout out. Yeah, when I heard about Bleach, it's so funny because you hear so much about how it's like, oh, it's just all spreads. There's like not a lot of text. Remember that one page getting memed a lot. That's like the heart, and it's like no backgrounds, and it's just like the text bubble, the heart.
Yeah.
So when I went to the beginning of Bleach, like there's a lot of text in it. And I'm not saying that as like a derogatory complaint kind of thing. There's just a
Yeah.
lot of text and explanation. So I was kind of surprised just to see how much like explanations there were for things. And it
Yeah.
was 100% like necessary, but it's funny to see how like, we're not getting that same sense of like all action words at this part. So it's very cool to see. And I really like what I noticed from the early chapters, just in general. Everyone has such a cool sense of style. Like at the beginning of every chapter, I think it's like one of the characters in like a cool outfit doing something that's not related to the content. Like I think they had one of the glasses dude like going to get ice cream, and he just looks like super stylish, even if he's not supposed to be like the most stylish character in the story. He's still looking really
Yeah.
stylish, and I think that's just the Kubo touch of like everyone looks cool. They look like they're all models, even if they're not good looking. They just all look like they represent a style, and it's cool to see. It's just it's already brimming with a very distinct like personality and aesthetic, like right from the get go.
Yeah, I think like I was thinking about it on the reread of these like early chapters. Like I feel like because Bleach is sort of set in like just the real world right now, and sort of like with just a regular classroom, like going to high school setting where they just wear uniforms. It's kind of hard to give them a reason to kind of wear these cool clothing, like this like really cool stylish
Yeah.
clothing. Like you could, but like I guess for Kubo this was like sort of his outlet of like he's really into this, so this is his way of being able to incorporate it. Like they're not going to wear it for any like justifiable reason within the actual like series, but like at least on like the chapter covers or
Yeah.
later on. So
Yeah, it's very cool to see. It's just a very cool like I feel immense already how this is like the cool kid series. And I do remember, despite like not watching Bleach back in the day, I'd still see like ads for it on Toonami. And
Yeah.
I remember, um, I'll see if this comes back to bite me in the future. I remember seeing Naruto as a kid. I was like, this dude looks fucking ass. I don't want to watch this series. It looks so weird. I hate the whisker thing, whatever. But I would see Bleach in passing, like
Yeah.
in any ads, and I'd be like, oh yeah, this looks like kind of sleek and cool, whatever. It would like I don't know why I didn't watch it. Like there's no pro or con. I'd just be like, oh yeah, like I've heard about it,
Yeah.
but I didn't watch it. But I distinctly remember like seeing Naruto and being like, he looks ass. I don't want to watch this. So I could see like other
I kind of
people.
get that. I get that. Like
Yeah,
I would see the Naruto manga volume at like the cover at Barnes and Nobles, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to read this. I don't get the appeal.
and yeah, and I'm in my like Sailor Moon card captor Sakura era where like I want to be a fashion designer, I want to be a model, like I want everything that looks cool and pretty. Like I was in the zone for
Makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
So when I'm in that, like Bleach is closer to that sense of style and like aesthetic than like Naruto or One Piece was. So I could definitely see a lot of people translating that into like, okay, I'm gonna read Bleach and I'm not gonna read Naruto or One Piece. So it definitely differentiates itself from the pack.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And like my experience with Bleach, I didn't really actually never thought of it as the cool kids series, although that obviously is an apt descriptor. Like that makes a lot of sense. Because I didn't really have any like I guess discourse or anything like around Bleach, even though like because like back then I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like Bleach was actually my first torrent, my first anime that
Ooh,
I torrented. So that
congrats.
was my introduction into the world of piracy.
Yo, that's so funny how it's like Bleach and not One Piece that
Yeah.
introduced you to
Yeah.
piracy.
Like it was literally like I knew I was buying anime on DVDs like literally every week. Like that was and like manga volumes and like I had by chance like met someone at like some like electronics store that sold like anime and like video games and like he was just like in the back counter. I'm just like a little kid that like just just wants to engage with anyone that like talks about anime. So I'm like excited to talk about it. It's like, oh, you watch anime? And
Yeah.
then he like and it's funny because he's like in a back corner and he's just like telling me like, hey, have you ever heard of BitTorrent? So like he
He's doing
tells
like a
me
drug deal.
yeah, and I like had
The
like
anime drug deal.
no idea like about how any of this works. Like I was not technical at all, and he was like telling me like what site to go on, where to download it, what I had to do. Uh, yeah, and I guess this is old school enough that I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like it's not like you can do this. No, you still can do this stuff. Whatever. Anyways, but yeah. So he told me like what site to go, and I couldn't really believe that it was real. It just sounded like all like really fake. It sounded like a little
Magical.
too good to be true. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
went home, and then like I go to this site like he said, and then I find like all this anime, and like one of the top ones is like Bleach. I think he told me about it, and like there was like 28 episodes out, so it was up to episode 28.
Oh damn.
Yeah, and then I'm like, wait, will this actually work? And then I start downloading it, and I'm like, oh my god! And I like remember it like just watching all the episodes. Like the very first thing that like started when I opened up like one of the, I don't know. Also had to download one of these like players that could play like the codec or
Yeah.
whatever. So I new to this, and like the first thing that pops open on my screen, and like the moment of eureka, like this thing works is Bleach's first opening by Orange Ridge
Wow.
Asterisk, and it just looks so stylish, and it's like this is a vibe, and it was like really
Is
cool.
that a core memory?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
if
it
you
is.
think that if you think back to like your childhood and just like anime watching, do you feel like that is like a core memory of like downloading Bleach and then you get hit with Asterisk? Like that's probably
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
epitome of
I
anime watching
hear it
vibe.
now, and that is like that always brings me back. Like, and I remember
Like
like all the colors of that OP and that like the stylish vibe, and yeah, that and the Bleach ending. Thank you. That one always
yeah,
stays in my head too. But anyways, yeah, that's like a core memory.
that's awesome. I want to address one thing in chat before I forget. Lennox mentioned I like how Kubo included songs as an indicator of the character vibes. I noticed that and I thought it was cool. And the first thing I noticed, and I had to like save the page because it was so funny to me, was I forget the dude's name. It's so embarrassing. I did not save the page. The glasses dude, his character
Oh,
song
Ishida,
is
Ishida.
Ishida is his character song is Idiotech by Radiohead. And as soon as I saw, which is one of my favorite Radiohead songs, and I'm a Radiohead fan, but as soon as I saw that, I said, I know what you are. And you're a Radiohead fan and you want to die. So that's exactly the vibe I get from you. And I do feel like it is like the equivalent of saying like, oh, here's the vibe. It's like, okay, he is the moody guy. So here we go.
Wait, like that's his character theme, as in like not like actually
The song.
from the show, right? Like from.
No, yeah, like they mentioned in the manga, like his character profile. Like,
yeah, okay, I get it. Oh, that's funny. Okay,
his song is like, it's not from the OST.
No,
It's
got
like
it.
in the manga.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I
the
was
panel.
like,
That's hilarious.
it's so funny because it's not even like, I mean, I think it's like a really popular Radiohead song in the group, but it's not even like, it's so like specific and like I know that album had just come out, so I'm like, okay, like Kubo.
That's awesome that you could like get the frame of reference for that, because there's a lot of times that mangaka do that, like they'll reference like something like, you know, and like I just don't have the frame of reference. I'm like, okay, but like that you instantly picked it up, it's like that's cool.
Yeah, so it was like I saw that and I'm like immediately I know what you are. I get it. I get the vibe. You're a Radiohead fan. It's the specific song. Yeah. So that was cool to see. I didn't look at everyone's song. That one just stuck out to me, obviously, as a Radiohead fan. Yeah. So I appreciate that. And it's so cool to compare that, like going back. I'm like, oh yeah, these were like super popular songs for this time. Because then I'm thinking back to like, you know, I think I remember like the Jujutsu Kaisen character songs. Like one of the like Gojo ones is like an Avicii song. I'm like, okay, these are not the same. Like the Avicii song is not the same as the Radiohead reference.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to see like Kubo is obviously like a big fan of international music, because like thinking back in the day, like really had to probably go out of your way to like get these albums and songs, especially internationally. Like they don't have YouTube, they don't even have LimeWire. That's you know.
Speaking of YouTube and OG YouTube, someone I gotta call out. Someone mentioned in the comments. A core memory is seeing stuff like Bleach Up 2 Part 1 out of 3 Espanol sub on YouTube.
Yes,
that's hilarious. I remember the whole part thing. That was hell.
That's its peak, like watching anime on YouTube in 3 parts. That's awesome.
The worst was like I was watching something and it would be 8 parts, and you'd be on one of the sites. And then one of the parts didn't work. So like part 5, and then you like scoured all these other random sites to just get part 5.
I love that. That is peak. You know, we really did have to work for our anime back in the day.
We did.
Yeah, I get the Weeaboo boomers being like, back in my day, you know, we had to walk uphill both ways to watch our Bleach.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I saw Asterisk, the opening. The first time I think I saw it in like its entirety was when Mother's Basement did his original like top 10 openings of all time for him, and he had the one and this was at least like it might have been like 7 or 8 years ago. Like people have probably seen the video, but his one inclusion for like Shonen OP that is just like it was Asterisk, and so I watched it. I'm like, this is such a cool vibe, and I feel like it captures. This might be Bleach as a whole at the time. It's like I feel like it captures the feeling of like, here are all of the characters being super stylish. Let's put them in like a music video, type of thing. And so Asterisk feels Asterisk feels like a music video for Bleach, and like I always kind of think of openings as a music video for the series. And sometimes it like is hit or miss, because like I like when they get a bit more abstract and like they're not referencing like one-to-one things that happen in the show, but like they'll maybe reference them a bit. And I feel like Bleach has that a lot, like all the characters kind of standing around and like going between them in different shots, and they have like the graffiti on the wall in the background, but they still have like fighting in the background.
Yeah, and like they're posing in certain scenes.
Yeah.
Like against the wall, looking angsty.
Yeah. Yeah, like it looks like they're shooting an album cover. And that feels like the perfect vibe for this arc, because it is a lot of like, let's introduce you to the characters and the setting. And there's some action going on, but it's also not like the primary focus for now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like definitely that is like kind of the feel for like this whole arc. It's like a good half of it, maybe more than like half is pretty much like you could say like slice of life, sort of
Mm-hmm.
monster of the week. Where it's
Yeah.
like kind
Yeah.
of easing in, but it's very focused on sort of like the general vibe of just getting to know the town and being in the neighborhood and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was very this not to sound like the Boss Baby thing, like this movie reminds me of Boss Baby. It's this guy who's only seen Boss Baby in another movie, like that meme.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of like Yu Yu Hakusho's beginning, where it's clearly like the episode of the week before we get into like the big arc that everything's building for.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it felt really nostalgic to have a series that wasn't like immediately rushing into the big arc. And I'm not saying I don't like it when series does that. I was just reading it and I'm like, damn, they really used to let them like take their time and just do a bunch of stuff before like we really got into it. And it makes me nostalgic in like a boomer way of like, yo, we used to be a society. Like we used to be a real country. So.
It's like we could do that stuff. Now we can't do that shit. We got to get straight to the good stuff immediately. There's no attention span. But no, because I was like rereading it. I'm just like, I'm like, damn, like I don't think Kubo knew, where he was going with this in the beginning. Like I think he was just kind of taking it where he wanted. Just because, like, again, like you're saying, like you don't really get that feel of stuff taking its time as much now, especially like not shonen. Like, so it definitely felt like it was kind of organically sort of trying to find its footing and coming together there. But as I was rereading it though, like in the first like 20 chapters and stuff, like I did like see like a lot of what I think back then I didn't realize is that a lot of the stuff in Bleach from the beginning was always building on each other. And that's like really cool to like realize. I don't think I ever like noticed that. I was like so entranced by the action and the hype moments that I never like saw that a lot of like the core of Bleach was being set up from the very beginning, and it like plays into everything later on.
Yeah, like I've only heard in passing. Like I know the like Soul Society arc, of course, one of the most famous arcs in anime. Like I've heard about that a lot, and I've even heard of some of the later arcs, and of course I have heard about one of the, well, I guess it doesn't help if I heard of it and I don't remember. If you'll remember in recent news, one of Young Thug's lawyers in court references a Bleach arc to be referred to people as filler characters in their trial.
Oh my god!
And did you see that?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing about that.
Oh my god! Okay, I have to find this. Bleach reference in court. Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. So the Bound arc, which I think is a filler arc.
Yeah. In the anime.
So, I hope they have the exact quote. Oh my god. Wait. Oh, that's so funny. Radman is in this article, dog. Like,
really?
Radman, I don't know. He's in the article on Yahoo referencing Bleach. Wait, that's so funny, dog. Okay, I'm posting this in chat because like it's insane. So essentially, she explains what filler is, and then she explains how they're redundant, and that's how she's saying these people are filler characters in this arc. Okay, everyone go look at this.
That's insane.
It's so funny. Yeah, what? Yeah, if you have to watch this is like 2 seconds, but yeah, essentially, I can't.
That's
it's a funny thing.
So wait, why is she explaining that? That's the context I'm missing.
Here's the so this is a Young Thug trial. I don't know what he's on going. I don't know what he's being charged with. The attorney who represents Radalis Ryan attempted to draw parallels between Bleach's narrative structure and the trial proceedings. As such, she highlighted that Bleach, which spans over 16 seasons, features characters like the Bounce. These are spiritual beings who were experimentally created in the Soul Society. These characters take center stage in season 4 and 5, but then fade into obscurity later in the story due to their irrelevance. D. Williams suggested that she and her client are analogous to filler in the trial, just like the Bounce.
Why go to those lengths? It's just like
Your Honor, we're filler characters.
Let me bring up anime. Now let me bring up the specific anime. Now let me bring up the specific concept in anime to make this point. We don't need to be here.
It's literally the like, look at my attorney dog, I'm going to jail meme. That's so funny.
Oh my god. Actually, the Bounce arc is where I dropped the anime.
So so you
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. I like that's when I like started reading the manga. I like jumped to the manga, like rushed from the
yeah.
beginning, and then got to the current arc.
Yeah, that's so funny. That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I might watch the filler arcs when we get to that part in the anime, just out of morbid curiosity. It's in a weird spot because I'm like, okay, do I get the full Bleach experience that everyone had
I think
growing up? Of like,
with that
I think
article, I
anime.
think you have to now.
Oh yeah, now I'm curious.
But we're
Um,
not covering that unless you guys want like a that could be like a bonus like
Bleach filler episode.
stream.
Your Honor, we're going to jail. And
Yeah.
then, and I also know that Bleach was like referenced, like the concept of hollows was what referenced in like a PhD article.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and I saw Bleach fans like having a victory lap on that, and I don't know the context, and I didn't read the dissertation, like literal dissertation, but I don't know. I gotta say, like, I feel like Bleach fans have really won the long con. Like, they won in the long
I
term.
think
They get
so.
referenced in work, and they get referenced in a PhD article. Like, they're literally like the Togashi meme of like you have to read all this philosophy before understanding Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Like that, it's a joke, but that
Yeah.
they literally have that in real life.
Yeah.
Like you need to read this PhD dissertation um
To get Bleach.
to get to understand
It's
Bleach.
like all of the years of loyally standing the show has like now paid off.
Yeah. Like it's really come full circle. I think that's awesome. I think this is great. I think it's a win for everyone. Um this article is so funny. I can't believe my Oomphy Radman is mentioned in a Yahoo Entertainment article. Like I know one of my tweets was referenced in like a random like article, but it's like comic book whatever. I'm not reaching Yahoo Entertainment.
That's crazy.
Um, that's my oomph. That's my oomphy. I'm so proud. Anyway, back to actual Bleach. So yeah, it was cool to get into it. Also, I don't know if I held this up yet. I was in Barnes and Noble one day. Got the Bleach. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something. And I went to Barnes and Noble and I was like sitting in the like Starbucks section and I was just reading Bleach and I was like, this is what I should have been doing in middle school. So I like read more, but this is like the combo volume of like 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of cool. It looks, I have to say, because I read it, the other stuff online. Read it on the. Can I complain? Sorry, can I complain? Chat, can I complain?
Yeah.
The Weekly Shonen Jump app, where I am legally paying to read series, is a piece of shit. I hate it, and sometimes it doesn't scroll pages, and sometimes it just crashes. And when I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen, you can't read more than 100 chapters in a day for like literally no reason. So, that sucks. Anyway, I don't know how to unrecommend something, but don't do it.
Please sponsor us if you're listening.
Sponsor, yeah. Weekly Shonen Jump also sponsor me. Also
Yeah.
fix your app.
Yeah,
I
fix
just
your
can't
app,
believe it.
sponsor us. We'll give you critical reviews. That'll help.
Really, yeah. Like don't limit this manga to
That's so
100.
annoying. Yeah, like 100.
Why would you do that?
I think it's to incentivize you to pay, right? No, wait, no, that's even for
I
paying,
do
right?
pay.
Oh,
Yeah, I pay
what
like
is the
like
incentive?
$1 a month. I don't know. That's why I was so confused.
Maybe
'cause
they
I'm
don't
not
want
reading it.
someone to like metagame and like read everything on the site in like a few days and then just cancel. It's to
And
kind
it
of
was
keep you
literally
reading perpetually.
yeah. I took a screenshot of it. It's like literally like 100 chapters in like a day, and they're like, don't you can't do that. Whatever, hate that. So I did. So anyway, speaking positively again, it is like such a total game changer. Like reading it on the page, like reading stuff on page and having the page flip and seeing like the real detail of art is such a game changer. I didn't save a good example of that, but like it was so cool reading. I essentially read this section for like in the manga. This one, it's when the glasses dude, what's his name?
Ishida
I can't.
or Uryu.
Ishida. Uryu?
Yeah, Ishida Uryu.
Uryu?
But you can call him by his
Uryu,
last name.
Yeah.
Ishida.
Ishida. Okay. Ishida or you, or as I'll call him, Idiotech guy.
Yeah. Just call him the
that's
Quincy
him.
guy. The Quincy guy.
The Quincy guy. He's like, yeah, let's release a bunch of hollows in here and see if you can 1v1 me. Like, okay, idiot.
Yeah.
So so he did that, and that's when like Chad and
Hey,
Or he
do you think Chad is a Chad?
Every time I said it, that's the Chad. That's the Chad. It was so cool how I'm like, damn, he's just the Chad of the whole series. Like, um, he is a Chad. I want to get to him in a sec.
Yeah.
But so this dumbass releases all the hollows and then has a contest with Ichigo to see who can like take them all down. And in the process, Chad and Orihime like unlock their powers, which I thought was really cool. And they did a really good job of building up the intensity, specifically for the Orihime section. I don't know what expectations I had of her, but it was definitely they were definitely exceeded.
Yeah.
Like
She
I
became
didn't.
a real badass in that section.
It was so cool because they show like the tomboy. Let me just show you the Chad in real time.
Yeah.
Like it looks cool on page. Like they do a good job. He's on page. He's got the arm. He's flexing literally. Um. So yeah. So Orihime, she was getting like defended by the tomboy friend, and so like that was kind of cool. And like you expect that, but seeing like tomboy friend getting her ass beat, I kind of thought the tomboy would awaken the spiritual powers, and then Orihime unlocked her special powers, and that was really cool because I've heard about Orihime, and I kind of just expected her to like kind of just be a +1
Yeah.
to the series, like just kind of like bop around, like going to Yu-Gi-Oh, you got the what's her name? Like the fourth girl of the group. I kind of expected that from her. I didn't think she would be jumping into the fray, which was very cool to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you thought she would just kind of sort of be there, kind of get saved or
yeah,
just kind of be around.
yeah, I thought she would just kind of keep getting saved. So seeing that she not only has powers, but she was like fighting these dudes off
And it's a
was,
multifaceted power. She can heal, she can attack, she can defend.
yeah,
It's pretty cool.
yeah. I like this page of the tomboy girl. I forget her name
I like that
already.
page too. I was looking at that
I
before. I'm
love
like,
that.
oh, it's so stylish.
So cool. She's so Kingdom Hearts right there.
Yeah.
Let me find the Orihime page. It's like so cool. Like,
Weirdy
yeah,
says that Orihime is basically a magical girl.
yes, I can see it.
Oh,
Look at
speaking of
this.
magical girls, I just recently watched Paprika. Really good.
Oh, how was it? You liked it?
Yeah, I really liked it.
That how about that opening with like the transitions in between each
Dude,
scene?
it was insane.
That's
I was
like
just, yeah, like peak. I feel like
he,
he took like what he did in Perfect Blue, like the sequence like towards the end where like Mima's running from the crazy lady, like that whole like sequence, and made it a whole movie.
yeah,
He's like, let's make
yes,
this a whole movie.
yes, I agree. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Paprika in a while. I gotta rewatch,
it was
but
great. It was really good. I
yeah,
really enjoyed it.
I gotta get back to that. Well, I'm glad you liked it. So yeah, Orihime, she's a boss. I love that. They did really good. And it is very cool reading it. I think I like reading it more than reading on the phone, my phone or on my computer, which is like kind of a given. I like reading physical manga
There's
in
just something
general.
about like reading just physical books. Like I've been thinking about
Yeah.
that recently. It's just like nice, like to just kind of sit down and sort of just like being able to actually like put your finger on the words on the page and like follow along. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
also nice like when you're trying to read them and like you're trying to fall asleep and like I'd rather have the book fall on my face than the phone fall on my
Yeah.
face.
Which is both have happened. So
Yeah.
I understand. The one on right said Orihime is a classic example of a female character derided because of being a healer, and I can probably understand that from being a Winry stan. Yeah, if she's the Winry of the series, I think I already understand the vision, and I'll probably love her. So, I'm a fan. So I'm a fan already of her. I thought I would kind of just be like a Rukia stan, because of course, like you gotta love Rukia. I love her
Yeah.
already. That's kind of a given.
She's funny, she's skilled, she's
Yeah.
good support, she's
I,
knowledgeable, she's a good character.
yeah, she's good. So I already like. So I'd say it's fair to say I already like a lot of the characters as they stand. Like I've seen. I feel like we got a good sense of the main ones. Like Ichigo is really cool, of course. He's got like the good MC setup where he is like powerful but kind. Rukia is cool. She's a badass, but also just like, she's compassionate, but also like very dedicated to like her mission and like being in the Soul Society and like the way she saved Ichigo by like just letting herself go to like the Soul Society people, which we can get to later. But
Yeah.
I like that already. Orihime we talked about. Uryu despite despite me not knowing how to pronounce his name,
Radiohead
and
guy.
then Radiohead guy, despite being a Radiohead stan, he's got a cool, like, sympathetic background of, like, already introducing the idea that, like, the Soul Society Reapers are, is that what they're called? Reapers?
Yeah.
Soul Society
Soul
Reapers?
Soul Reapers. Soul Reapers.
Soul Reapers.
Or
Okay. And
Shinigami.
they're in Shinigami and they're in the Soul Society.
Yeah.
So, like, already kind of presenting some cracks in that society, the concept of that society, where they're kind of just, like, maintaining the peace.
Yeah.
But then you see with the Quincy's, like, they're just trying to get rid of the Hollows, but it disrupts, like, the balance of the world. But then, like, the Reapers are, like, there's either not enough of them or they're, like, too inefficient. So, like, a lot of people get hurt as a response of them just trying to maintain peace.
Yeah.
So we're already getting that sense of, like, here's the status quo. The status quo doesn't necessarily work, and anyone who's trying to change the status quo in a dramatic way is already getting, like, screwed over. Like, they got wiped out.
We live in a society.
We live in a society.
I feel like Ishta's introduction with, like, the whole Quincy's, that's, like, Kubo's way of expanding the world. So that's when it really, like, started to expand, as you said, to show, like, the cracks in the, like, the system, which leads into all the other stuff after that.
Yeah. Even also with, like, what's his stupid name? What's his name? The teddy bear.
Khan?
Khan, yeah. Khan was, like, I read part of that, like, kind of months ago, but his whole thing was, like, he was a, like, discarded soul.
Yeah.
I think. So he was set up just to be destroyed, but, like, he's still, like, an actual soul that, like, they just decided to try and get rid of. Like, that also introduced the whole idea of, like, they're just getting rid of these people because they decided, like, their souls or, like, whatever. I forget the reason.
I don't know if I'm, like, remembering correctly, and, like, chat, you guys can correct me. But
please correct me on this. Yeah.
I think what they're supposed to be is not actual souls, but, like, modified or, like, synthetic souls. Like, they're not, like, they're created. So, because it's supposed to just be, like, a placeholder soul while you go into your Gigai or your soul body or whatever. Like, sorry, the other.
Yeah, I looked him up. Yeah. And you're correct. Yeah, you nailed that, actually. Yeah, so he's a mod soul, and they have, so it's, like, inserted into the body, and an aspect of the body is made superhuman. So, he was shipped out with a load of regular soul pills, but he's, like, a bad one. So, he wasn't given a chance. So he's an artificial soul, and you already see that, like, he's pretty much just, like, a normal functioning person. So it's already kind of, like, the idea of, like, what are they doing with these souls? How are they judging who does and doesn't deserve to, like, exist? Already getting a sense of, like, this society that is upholding the balance of the world is not always making the best decisions for all parties included, you know?
Yeah, it's not perfect. And then, like, we kind of get all those hints to that. There was something I was going to mention. We talked about Ishta and then the Quincy powers and sort of, like, how... It's interesting how they explain, like, how they function, like as, like, an inverse to each other, whereas, like, the Soul Reapers draw their powers from, like, within versus the Quincy's from their surroundings, which makes sense.
Yes, yeah, that was a cool distinguisher of, like, you know, he's drawing it, so they, like, fed off each other really well.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to say that Ishida as a character, Ishida, is, like, he's kind of like a tsundere.
Yeah, he's like, it's not like
I don't want to help you.
Yeah.
I don't actually like you, but, you know, some excuse, I gotta help you.
Yeah. He's not like I wanted to help you or anything, baka. Like, that kind of shit. I love it. Love that already. You get that sense of him. And so I didn't really watch, like, enough of the anime because everyone's like, you know, go to manga is the way. So I looked up everyone's voice actors, so I knew what to imagine. And so his voice actor has also done the voice of Sasuke. So despite not having read or watched Bleach, I know a lot about Sasuke, so I already know. He also voices Shiro. Like, I just know the vibes. I just know he's just a little pouty.
He's broody.
Just a little pouty boy. He's a broody boy, as evident by having his song be a Radiohead song. Yeah. So it's like you either look up their voice actors on Mal, or you look at their character song, and you know you get the vision. So that makes perfect sense. It's cool. They already have like very distinct character designs already. So like I get the cast, I get the vision. Speaking of the Chad, um,
The Chad is
so
Chad.
the Chad is Chad. So I would think he referred to like someone as his abuela. So I was like, oh, is he like part like does he have like Latin origins? And so thanks to Mal again, I'm like, oh, so he's like of Mexican descent. And I already was like, oh yeah, isn't there some like Spanish guitar in Bleach at some point? So
Yeah.
like so is he just like part Mexican, part Japanese, or is he just like Mexican and in Japan?
He's part Mexican, part Japanese. I think I don't know if see now I don't remember if I looked it up. I felt like it
Yeah.
said it at some point in the manga, like very
Yeah.
briefly. Something about like I think his grandfather was Mexican. I don't know, or something like that. But he's half. He's like half, I think.
Yeah.
But again, chat, correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like that was his background.
Yeah.
Which is like the only time they mention it. Like I think it's just like a little bit of backstory. He unlocks his powers, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. Japanese of Mexican descent. Okay, cool. So, and
Okay, there we go.
yeah, and C52G mentions that Yuru is less edgy than Hiei, Sasuke, or even Kurapika.
Well, that's true. He's not like super. He's not really edgy. He's just broody.
Okay, cool.
Even though
Okay,
I
that
don't,
makes sense.
broody's not even like a word, I think. But
No, it makes sense. He's not like he doesn't have sharp edges. He's just kind of like me.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Like he's
yeah.
not doing anything edgy or even acting edgy. He's just he's
Mhm.
just not honest. He's just
Yeah.
tortured.
He's just a tortured soul. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And Chad had a cool thing. Chad had the cool like I want to be a kinder person, and he's like trying to. I feel like he and Ichigo are kind of on similar wavelengths of like strength being associated with kindness and protecting people, not like attacking them,
I think
so to speak.
protecting is like a running theme among like the core cast. Like it's just
Mhm.
like a bit in all of them.
Yeah.
Especially Chad and Ichigo, but also like in that scene with Orihime wanting to protect Tatsuki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool to see. It's definitely cool to see that it. And I heard through the Discord grapevine, so to speak, that Bleach is just a bunch of rescue missions. So, and so the Soul Society arc. Obviously, the goal will be to save Rukia. So I know that it's still in the vein of like protecting someone. So that is cool to see. Them already kind of establishing that. So,
Yeah. One of the
and the cool part.
things. No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I
No,
didn't have
I was
one.
just gonna say one of the things that like now like coming as like someone that's rereading now and like re-experiencing it like back then like as I was like because Bleach is I think fair to say like one of my very first like I think shonens like before I got to know shonens I think Bleach was part of that formative experience as to what I've come to expect from shonens and like back then I think like when I would be comparing like shonen MCs or like the big three or whatever, I always thought of Ichigo, and I think it was probably the common take as like being like a little bit more one dimensional, or like as it's been said of Bleach overall, like more style over like substance. Like there wasn't a lot of substance to Ichigo. Like he would just be the typical MC that wants to get strong and protect people, but not with like a lot of not too much personality, just sort of a little more stoic and sort of just kind of getting strong and all that stuff. But as I've been like rereading like this first arc, I've realized there's like a lot of substance to Ichigo. It's just not like outwardly said by him. You kind of his characterization is like through the dynamics of other characters around him. Like it's what they say about him or kind of like his behavior and sort of like even Uryu or Ishita like challenging him. You find out more about Ichigo and his reasons. And like when you get into his backstory of his mom, like everything sort of like makes sense as to like what drives Ichigo forward. And it's not like super complex, but it's like effective. Like it's simple, but it makes sense for what he wants to do. And it's that whole theme of protecting. So I thought that was really cool because I always like thought like, oh, it's just very like again, like style and like not very deep. But I'm like, oh no, there's like it is profound in a way.
Yeah, definitely. What do you feel like this time around, like when you were I think like the backstory with like his mom is probably like the biggest indicator we get for his character. And I do think that him challenging Uryu, that was like a really cool moment of yeah, it felt nostalgic and like familiar in a way, that idea of you know, he's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. So like Uryu is like, I'm not bothered by like he's not acting out of revenge for the Quincy's getting wiped out. He's acting because like someone he knew, like his mentor, was like
Yeah.
killed by a hollow, and then the Soul Society was too late to like save him.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have that from Ichigo as well. He's like, I'm not defending the Soul Society. Like, I don't know who these guys
Yeah.
are, but like my mom was killed by a hollow, and I don't want that to happen to someone else. And it's like
Yeah.
already establishing this idea that like we're not here to uphold these like organizations or societal figures or longtime grudges that people might have. It's just more simple of like someone I care about was hurt and I don't want that to happen to anyone else and I don't want that to happen again. And I think that's a very kind of like relatable, practical reason that a lot of people can get behind as like motives for characters,
Yeah.
feels very real.
Yeah.
So, and that's how they like establish connection because they're coming at it from like two different sides, but ultimately like the same point of view.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
And also because like it's so like kind of simple, like the motivation, something like you feel like you do like hear a lot of the time. It's kind of very easy to miss or like not to put a lot of weight to it. But like they do really ground like Ichigo's motivation and Uryu's, but like with his mom's backstory and all of that, like having Ichigo's name meaning to be like, the one who protects, and then him feeling like his mom was his world and she like protected him because he was more of like this cowardly, not cowardly, but like more timid kid, and then like clung to his like was clinging to his mom, and so like being around her, like he felt protected, so that motivated him to like want to protect other people. But then in his overzealousness to like try to protect a girl that turned out to be a hollow, he got his mom killed, and then that like that emotional crux of like that guilt of he couldn't protect that person, like that, I think that's very effective. That's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more complicated because it's not like he was running away and that's why his mom got killed. It was like he was trying to protect someone and it bit him in the ass, but he still knew it was like the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like his only way forward is to just like it's like it's a very like practical like reasoning or like for like the typical shonen story. Like it actually like makes sense to explain why he would want to keep powering up and getting more powers versus like just for the sake of it. It's like, no, I want to just keep getting stronger so I can keep protecting these people, and the stakes just keep getting higher, so I gotta keep getting stronger. So because like literally, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like the power gap at the end of like this arc is kind of massive. It's kind of a big jump.
Yeah, because that was really interesting because it was like we go from like, oh, look, it's so cool. Like Ichigo, Ryu, the gang, they all defeat these hollows. We got like the big hollow. I do really love how like that hollow was like ripping through the fabric of like the fabric of reality. I think that was drawn in a really cool way. And then we got like, oh, it's like this is the hollow that like the super duper defense force gets set out, and then like Ichigo takes it down. And that was really cool. And then we get to, of course, characters I have seen before, but don't know the context of as well, and whose names I can't pronounce, as I would forget.
I got you.
I know one is Renji, and then Renji, I think I'm saying it, and then
you got to try once.
Byakuya.
No, Byakuya.
Okay, and so Byakuya and is like a design I've just seen around forever. I feel like I've seen this character everywhere. Forever, and he also looks like Ryu a little bit. Like they look kind of similar. Or Uryu, he looks like Uryu a bit, but like only
like a hair piece.
Yeah, and without glasses.
Yeah.
So we got to the chapter name. I love this chapter title because a lot of chapter titles are like one word or they're like whatever. I like this one chapter title called "Nice to Meet You," and in parentheses, "I will beat you." I think that's so funny, and it's just like it sounds like an album, like it sounds like a lyric, and I'm like, oh, this is so cute. I love this.
I liked the straightforward title of "Quincy Archer Hates You."
Yeah, that's good. Like, what do you think is happening in this chapter? By Akuya, thank you, Askin. Thank you, Chad. Chad teaching me how to pronounce basic words.
They got you.
Thank you, Chad. Yes. This is my ghost.
This is the next. This is the side arc. This is the low key arc.
Yeah. So This was cool, and this is where we got the phrase that I'm not sure if this is the origin of it or if it's some iteration, but we got the "you're 2,000 years too early to beat me" from we got that from Renji when he's challenging Ichigo. So I've heard that phrase everywhere. I'm guessing it comes from this, but that's like, you're 2,000 years too early to challenge me, and I'm like, there it is. This
Is that?
is iconic.
I
This
don't
is
know.
history
Is
in the
that
making.
where it originated from? I can't believe that.
I
Because
have no
you
idea,
hear
but
it
it's
all the
literally,
time, and it's crazy if that's where it
yeah,
came from.
yeah, I think it is. It's the full thing is he's like, you think you can fight me as an equal? You're 2,000 years too early, and then he pulls out the like Chainsaw Man sword thing.
Yeah.
So so that was dope. So that was cool, and I felt like, oh, it's like the Leo point. I'm like, oh, I know where that's from. So that was really cool to see, and of course we get the classic power. It's kind of like the power ceiling, as you put it. It's like, okay, so he could take down Renji, but then Byakuya is like moving too fast and taking his sword down before he even realizes, and that's how it's like, okay, this is the guy. This is the dude. So we already know he's very cool, and I guess he's the most powerful character we've seen up until this point.
Yeah, because Ichigo at that point can't even like touch him.
No, so he can't do anything. And so of course, and then he's also Rukia's brother, so that's an interesting dynamic. We don't know the full implications of that, but we know that it's like obviously not doing good because she's set to get imprisoned and then like executed. So, uh,
Chat's still trying to guide you here. Byakuya from Weirdy. Byakuya.
Byakuya.
Yeah, yeah. Because in the
Thank you.
Japanese they pronounce B, like they pronounce it as just B. Like when you
B,
see
okay. Why?
BYA, it's pronounced Bia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Turtleman said the phrase is really old. It's in Virtua Fighter,
Ooh, I remember
and that
Virtua
came out
Fighter.
in 1993. So it might just be an old phrase. Okay. But for the sake of Bleach, Bleach created it.
Let's just say
yeah,
Bleach
for the sake
created
of
it. We got to give Bleach all the props.
Bleach, Bleach is generational. Bleach came out in 2003, but so it came out before 1993. So there we go. So yeah, that was cool, and so we got to see that.
Yeah. What did you let's see. So yeah, there's like the giant power gap between them. Ichigo's got like, what do you think about the crazy time frame of like, you've got 10 days and we're going to get you up to snuff to go to Soul Society?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to introduce him. So that's Urahara.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy around of course because
his design is everywhere.
His design is everywhere. His hat is everywhere. One of the most iconic hats I've seen. And then,
like, if you go to any anime convention, especially like 10 years ago, like you would see that hat, like, all the time.
Oh wait, yeah. Askin said, "You're slow even to fall." That is ridiculous. That was a very cold line. That was ridiculously cool. Everything about Byakuya, I will see if I can learn how to pronounce it. Byakuya. Yeah. Everything about him is very cool. I feel like he might not be the face of Bleach, but like in my head, he's kind of like the personification of like Bleach coolness.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, Byakuya, I think you would see him a lot in the promotional art too. So I'm not surprised you saw him a lot. Yeah. Because he is like one of the coldest characters.
he is that guy. But then speaking of another that guy, Urahara, he's the proto Gojo. I felt Gojo similarities with him. I did feel some of that where he's just kind of like the laid back guy with all the knowledge, and he's like helping. He's with this like ridiculous training arc in a short amount of time. That's also like really dangerous, but he's kind of going about it in such a like jovial way. He's the cool design. He just looks really cool. I think it was crazy how it's like, okay, so we're going to have 10 days to do all this. And when he's like, okay, so you're going to be like locked up and you're also going to be down in this hole. And then you're also, if you don't do this, you're going to become a hollow. That was pretty insane.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent of the like Yu Yu Hakusho, like we're gonna have this like
The spirit orb.
energy beam explode,
Yeah.
spirit orb explode out of you. Like
Oh, that
if you
makes
can't
sense.
overcome this, you die. So it's like, oh yeah, so you get the like, is it training? Is it torture? Find out based on the results kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, I have to say, in the chat, Weirdy said Byakuya attracts the same crowd that loves Sesshomaru from Inuyasha. I'm like, that tracks.
Is that, would that crowd be like the pretty boy crowd, or
I think so. Yeah.
that's a good crowd too? Okay.
Sorry
That
for
was a
cutting you off.
Dark Knight Rises moment for sure. Yeah, that was. He did rise too. So that was cool, and I really love the imagery of like when Ichigo is looking like he's getting turned into a hollow, but then he's like inside his mind, and he's like on the building sideways, and he's talking to his essentially talking to his sword. I forget the
Yeah.
name of what they would call that, which is
Zangetsu.
embarrassing. Zangetsu.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So that was cool, and I like the imagery of that. It reminded me of the Matrix a lot in terms of like the, abstract absurdism of it. And then when it's like, okay, you gotta find your spirit energy here, and then he remembers what Uryu says about like how it's red, so he finds it and unlocks it. So that was really cool to see. That whole transformation was awesome. And of course, because I'm doing everything backwards, it reminded me of the Gintama references to Bleach when the sword tries to awaken Gintoki's latent powers, and Gintoki says no, and he takes a nap. So,
That's funny.
so I'm like, oh, so this is the origin of the joke when it is played like straightforward, and it's not just Gintoki being a lazy asshole. So I love that.
Real quick, follow up to your previous question. Lennox kind of elaborated a little more.
Yes.
That Sesshomaru and Byakuya definitely have that holier than thou energy. So I think they fit more of that same mold, that same vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear. So
Sean's
there's like
Sean's like, I didn't really care for this, but yeah, sure.
No, I did no. I'm trying to think of like an equivalent that I would know of to get the image of.
Wait, you didn't watch Inuyasha?
No, I missed that too.
Huh. Okay,
I know.
thought you were,
I'm a
like
girl failure.
that was a big like 2000 early 2000s like
I know.
like just like leaving Adult Swim on while it played in the background kind of show. So, I'm surprised you missed it.
I know. I'm such a failure. I was really in my magical girl era, and nothing else was gonna get in that way. The amount. Okay, if we like go back and do like a nostalgia podcast on stuff we grew up on, it would be. I'd have the weirdest list of shows.
We should do that. We should do that. That's a good idea. But real quick, what I don't know if this is accurate, but I'm just gonna try to see if I can nail it a little closer. Cardcaptor Sakura, what's his name? The white-haired dude.
Oh, that guy.
I don't think because he doesn't have a holier than thou vibe. So maybe I'm kind of wrong.
Oh, his spirit form does. His spirit form kind of does.
So maybe it's like that.
Okay.
That's just the quickest example I could latch onto.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I get the vision. I see the vision, but
sorry. Back to what you were saying. Did you say Uryu's powers? Opening the box paralleled. Did you say something about paralleling Ichigo's Zangetsu?
It was cool how Ichigo finding the box was like he got that from his confrontation with Uryu, like explaining how to find like your spirit energy and like identifying it. Mm-hmm. So you can already like kind of extrapolate from that, like his conflict with him has already led to his own like development, right. Even in this like literal way. Yeah. So that was a cool way of bridging the connection between that. And just the whole like dream sequence to awakening, and then he comes with like the hollow mask. And then he also has his sword. So I thought that was cool. And that was just a cool training sequence. So I think they did a great job with that.
And it's crazy how like everything has like really, I mentioned this earlier, like directly led into each other. Like the Don Kanonji thing, which was like before Uryu was introduced, which with the spirit medium guy, that incident led to the powers awakening or like something happening within Chad and Orihime. Then Uryu baiting the hollows to come out and attack kind of made their powers manifest, which then led to Ichigo fighting the Menos Grande, and then these other two kind of getting trained kind of low key by like Urahara and sort of deciding, you know, like what they want to do with their powers, and then like I don't know, all of it's like sort of just been like a domino effect. Like everything's just been leading into each other like from the beginning. So I think that's like a really cool detail.
And I feel like so, and also it's like, did I guess a question? I don't know if this will be answered at some point or not. Will is it so? Orihime and Chad, were they only awakened because they saw Ichigo as a spirit reaper or whatever, soul reaper, or is it because like they always had that latent power and that's when it awoken?
So what I got from it, from reading it, and again, like we said, chat, you can enlighten us, is that they had the latent power. I think they all might have latent powers just because like so many hollows are either close to them or maybe they just had it. But being around Ichigo definitely, because Ichigo as a soul reaper, and because his spirit energy is always leaking out, being near him definitely caused it to activate, to come to the forefront. And it made it sound like it would have never awoken if not for Ichigo.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So they always had it, but they awoken. Okay, cool.
What do you think of Ichigo's powers so far? Like just like kind of like what he is, like what's going on with him, like.
It's okay. Threat awakens their latent power. Okay, so that makes sense. I think it's interesting. I'm trying to play a bit of recap with like the early chapters I watched, which is why I think I'm gonna probably watch the first 20 episodes also as like a nice recap, and also to see the anime and to see the OST.
We should have a separate OST like ranking thing.
Yes, that would be fun because I've heard some of the OST and it's great. So I'm excited to experience that. To hear the voice actors, I'm such a voice actor, not snob, aficionado, no fan, whatever. Such a voice actor person. It really does help like reading when I have the voice in mind. So
sounds like a snob to me.
Yeah, snob.
No, I'm just kidding.
Whoopsie. Kind of snobby. No, it's only a snob when I'm like, this voice actor is better than this voice actor. Meanwhile, I can't even pronounce like Byakuya.
Are you a voice actor power scaler?
Wait a minute. I think I am.
Wait.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I think I am.
No. You heard it here.
This is the worst. This is the worst timeline. This is the worst timeline to be in. Oh no, I can't do it.
Power scaler. All right.
That's awful.
That's got to be an episode.
That will be okay. I could actually do that, and I could get real obnoxious. So
let's do it.
Warning for everyone. But yeah, so I think Ichigo is interesting. I feel like it's like a classic case of like he's had the like real life experiences with these with these situations which led to it. But I'm trying to remember if it's like could he always see spirits, or was it because of the incident with his mom that led to it? I kind of forget about that.
I think. We got Radman here in the chat kind of dropping knowledge. He's like elaborating here that every human has the capacity to activate latent powers. The translations for some stuff change a lot, like Dark Force is a really funny one. But everyone can get Soul Reaper superpowers with spirit energy, like how Rukia stabbed Ichigo to give him his.
Yes. Yeah, because I was kind of like, how much of this is like Ichigo's original power, but then like she gave him her power, but now he's activating his own power. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think maybe the incident with the Hollow and his mom, might have given him something because he did see ghosts before that. So, yeah,
he did see them before that. Okay, interesting. So maybe something with his mom. Like I guess his mom she might have some secret sauce, so to speak. But his sisters have that too. So like it might be like in his family.
Yeah.
And then the anime also changes some dialogue and scenes around, so it'd be interesting to hear about the differences. That's cool. That's interesting. That'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I've been reading the Viz translations, and I think they were good back in the day. I don't know about now.
Wait, why don't you take the recent volume, like the physical volume that you have, and just compare it to the one on the site?
Yeah, I think I will. And then I'll also compare it
to... They don't make them like they used to.
Look at the also the jump ones. Just see like if they'll let me load. That would be funny. But okay. Yeah.
I want to ask you this. I don't know if you wanted to bring something else up, but just because, like, I'm sure you've heard it, like, in the discourse. Like, I know it's early, but, like, what do you think of ships so far? Any ideas, any thoughts on ships?
I so I think I know about the ships. So I already know about the ships that will win by the end. I can so I'll tell you this. If I was reading this the first time around, and if I was reading this as a kid, I would be all in on Ichigo and Rukia. That would be my ship. That would be my ship. Um, I just know like that I would like that, but I also like Orihime a lot more than I thought I would originally, and I know like she and Ichigo do have a cool dynamic. It was really funny that one part when like she was like she's like you would make this funny face and then you would say this, and she like imitates him perfectly. So like I can see their dynamic as well. I already know what happens, and since I'm like I already know the end goal, but I like the conversation they have where they're asking Rukia if she has like feelings for him, and she's like, romance isn't something I'm interested in, and I feel like that's one of those cool like, she's just a badass girl, like she's just got her duty, she cares about that, and I eat it up now, and I would have eaten up as a kid too. I'd be like, yeah, she's
Yeah.
so cool, so I would have
Okay.
been all in on that ship. But since I do know, I already have shifted my expectations because I will not get caught up on the wrong side of a love triangle.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that,
Fuck
especially
that
when I already
noise.
know.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Fuck
no.
that.
Makes sense.
I
Because
don't have
you're
time and
setting
energy for that.
yourself up for disappointment, for tragedy.
Yeah, I've already been down like the
In the
Chihaya
trenches.
Furu who will win in Chihaya Furu. I've seen the ugly side of humanity from that,
Ooh.
and now so
Honestly,
I already know.
I don't think Chad is happy that we're going the shipping route. So, let's move away
No,
real
because
quick. But
they say it's toxic, but we're being not toxic. But yeah,
all
so
right, let's
in
get toxic.
short,
Sorry, Chad. Let's do this. All right, so this is what I fucking think. No, I'm kidding. Because I was asking. So when you say though, like you're not completely like spoiled on like the ending of Bleach, like what happens. You just sort of, you are. You kind of know like.
I know what happens in terms of ships because I remember
But
when
like in
Bleach
ships,
ended.
but no, but not like the whole
Yeah, I
context
don't
of
know the
every.
context. I
Okay,
don't know
you
the
just
full
sort of know
context. Yeah,
like who ends up with whatever. Okay. Um,
yeah,
no, because like
and
I just wanted to like kind of gauge if you thought like besides your own like preference, like if you actually thought there was from reading that first arc like some potential romance between Rukia and Ichigo. Like, do you think
yeah,
it's there?
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like they lampshade it by having the girls ask like, "Hey, do you have feelings for him?"
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're obviously hinting at how it's like, oh, it seems like the two girls might get feelings for Ichigo.
Yeah.
Like, they already are hinting at that, and you can already see like they have like a special dynamic. You know, you could just see like they're already kind of hinting at that, and so, I when people say like, oh, is there no foundation for this? Like, that's a bit silly. Like, you can obviously tell it's easy to extrapolate that there is a romantic dynamic between Ichigo and Rukia from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even if like, it's also clear with him and Orihime. It's just really clear to see like,
Yeah.
they always do this. They always
I
do
think
this.
there's potential for it. It's definitely like not like the door is completely closed, but I could also see, based on just this first arc, that part of their relationship, their dynamic, is more. It leans more towards feeling indebted to each other, like a sense of
Yeah.
honor and a sense of like repaying each other. Because I feel like, again, it doesn't completely shut the door, but I feel like the reason why Ichigo wants to like go out of his way to go like save Ruki and all that stuff isn't like romantic. It's
Mm-mm.
more, yeah, yeah. But it's
Mentor related. Yeah.
yeah, but it's actually even more so like because I think, and this is what I like kind of realized on this like reread is like he's really thankful, like he's really grateful for getting those powers. Like I think
Yeah.
like it changed his life in a way that I felt like he like always seeing ghosts and like not being able to help them or do anything for them like kind of really I
Mm-hmm.
think always bothered him because especially with that mindset of I want to protect people, I don't want to be powerless, I want to be able to do anything for everyone I get to know, and seeing like that dimension and not being able to interact with it like kind of sucked probably.
Yes,
uh
definitely.
but now having like powers that actually make him like able to do something with that world and engage with that world is like I think something he's like very very grateful for and like glad that Rukia came into his life and like gave him that. So I think it's that whole,
Definitely.
and then obviously she's glad that he saved her life and it's like that whole repaying dynamic.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I was going to bring this up before Chat beat me to it. I thought, you know what ship I could see is Tatsuki and Orihime. They feel like they had the most shipping vibes out of anyone so far. Like
Man.
just like both of them trying to protect each other. They feel like full dedicated. Like that felt very romantic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was like, yo, that's a bit more than like the usual friendship kind of dedication. So like I saw that one and I was like, yo, maybe like if this is a popular Yuri ship, I see the vibe for that. I see the vision.
You know, if the editors weren't cowards, they'd do it. They'd fucking
Do
do it.
it.
They
I
would
feel
do it.
like that was a hint too. But I think Bradman brought up something like um where he's said like I do think the authors lean into them, and that's like 100% a thing. Like a lot of times people are more willing to argue that like authors aren't hinting at something or not. I think that they hint at it. It's like part of the vibe. They hint at it, and then they kind of make a game time decision at certain points. But
Yeah.
there's like still hints, like people saying that's like ridiculous to see it. Like no, there's obviously hints
Yeah.
everywhere in like every series when they come to this stuff. Like they know what they're doing. So
Yeah, that's a
I
good
think
take.
people,
And because
yeah,
it's like the weekly format and like they're kind of also coming up with this on the fly. I think they open up
yeah,
enough potential threads for themselves, and then
hmm
like you know you got to keep it open, and then later on
exactly.
they got to swerve or make decisions like ideas that they wanted to flesh out maybe don't get fleshed out, or maybe they go a different direction
Yeah,
completely. So
yeah.
let's put a pin in that, and we'll come back. We'll revisit this next
Come
arc.
back to that.
Yeah.
So where are you reading it? Because we did a combination between is this technically by Viz? It is Viz, yeah. So the Viz volume, I did some on the Weekly Shonen Jump app, and then I did some on like read Bleach somewhere, probably illegally. So that's probably wrong. So I'm a little bit of everything, but
I cannot speak about where I am reading it. I kind of went back to my roots. We'll just say that, and you know, wanted to experience Bleach as I
your
did
Bleach
back in the
roots.
day. And
That's the best way of putting it.
so far, it's
Yeah.
been very convenient and very peak.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I agree with that. I don't know. The translations haven't seemed weird to me, but I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Somehow I only know.
mine has been good. Its stuff has been translated as you know Soul Reaper and you know kind of the English titles. Because I remember when I was reading Weekly back in the day, you'd get like half Japanese, half like English on the translations. You
Yeah.
get like Shinigami and like a bunch of like other words.
Yeah, and that's one that works though. Like we know what a Shinigami is.
Back then I didn't, you know, so Bleach was one of those
Yeah,
formative ones where like it like kind of threw me into the deep end of the water and was just like getting me familiarized with all these like terms. Like, oh,
yeah.
okay, why
They
are
didn't
they
have the
why do they have san at the end of their name? Oh, why is this what does
they have
this
Desu.
mean? Actually,
There's so
they were
much
actually really
Desu.
cool back then because they would have like they would take the time to write like an explanation at like a honorific like the honorifics or
Yeah.
like some explanation at the top. I'm like, oh, okay, cool,
hmm
yeah,
That's dope. Um, yeah, I agree with the. So we'll do only non-topic shipping discourse if we can.
yeah.
But when you get to Naruto, you will see the vision for the Naru Sasu being the foundational text in Fujo history. I can believe it. I've seen some shit on that.
That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole different story.
I can't wait to get
Literally,
to
but
Naruto.
also yeah.
That's something else.
I already know something funny about that, but yeah, so far nothing. I don't get no one will believe me, but like I like shipping, but I'm also like I need to be inspired by ships. Like I'm not gonna just automatically ship something. So we will see if the vision is there for getting super invested in Bleach ships.
I
But
like that you
people might
have
also
high standards for ships.
no. It's like I don't know. It's not like I
No, I'm
wouldn't
not
call
making
it that.
fun of you. I respect it.
No,
It's like
just
she's like
it's
I
just
need
small.
to be inspired. I need to be moved
Need to see the
by this
vision.
ship.
Yeah, I just know some people like always ship. I don't know if I have the energy.
Yeah,
for
no,
it,
no, I
'cause
get that. Like it's like
I think
not
I'm either
shipping
all
just
in
yeah,
or not.
like there's
And
definitely
it's,
gotta be like signs, not just like all right, we're making this up out of thin air.
yeah, you gotta get your brain rot, like the neurons activated for the brain rot. So
Yeah, like
I don't know.
Ghetto Gojo.
Did I tell you what my neuron activation for that was? Because it's really stupid. Did I tell you? Did I ever tell you that?
No,
Or
I don't think so.
so
Did you
I
like
was
your
like,
mind's eye just open?
it did literally, and it was for the dumbest thing possible because I was like on YouTube listening to the opening and stuff, and someone posted this like bad AI version of the opening where they're both sing like AI versions of the voice actors singing it. And at that point I hadn't read the lyrics, but then I heard them like they're off key, like it's not a good AI video, like of them cover. And then it's not a good AI cover, but I seeing the lyrics and hearing them like sing it, I was like, wait a minute, this is really sad. And that was when it all went downhill. So it's not even like a normal good reason. But that's when I started going down the rabbit hole.
You were
like,
you were just like, wait.
this is so sad. Wait, it was
There's
literally
something
like
here.
you know the like Doctor Strange video thing where like she touches his forehead and he like goes through like all
Yeah.
of like the
Yeah.
different realities. That was literally me, and but like in a negative way. Like I
That's
didn't
how.
really gain superpowers. I just gained brain damage.
It's
Like,
funny.
it
I
wasn't
was
a good thing.
slightly off topic, but you saying the going through the different dimensions thing. I literally was catching up to 100 girlfriends yesterday, and I literally every freaking time he'd like meet a new soulmate, it was just like they were just traveling
Oh,
dimensions.
yeah.
It was like
I
that
have
was
to
pretty
catch.
entertaining.
It is. I gotta catch up on that. That show's fun.
I was speed running it, but it's fun. It's like JoJo's like for rom com.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
so funny. That's a good way of putting it.
like
That's a
harem
funny
for
ass show.
JoJo's, because like they were just like throwing all these punches, and I'm like, this really reminds me of JoJo's, and like they're so extreme. It's fun.
That's so true. Well, we gotta
Um,
catch up on that. Did I see the spread of the captains yet? No. So I know. So I got up to, for everyone's knowledge, I got up to chapter 70, which is right when they go through the gate. The only captains I've seen in the manga so far are Byakuya, the dude with
Renji.
Renji. Is he a captain? I thought he was a scout captain.
No, but I think yeah,
I
no,
got the impression he was kind of a bitch,
he's not a
right?
captain. He's a vice captain.
Yeah, he's kind of a bitch, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of. Whatever.
He's alright.
Did you guys
He's just not as strong as like a
yeah,
captain. So
kind
that's
of a
like that's how
bitch.
you have your.
Ooh,
He's just kind of a
ooh,
bitch.
kind of a bitch. But already calling talking shit. Like I don't know what he can do, but like yeah, we're just
Yeah, no. So
um
he's not a captain. So yeah, you wouldn't include him.
I saw Jin and I saw Kenpachi. And I know those are two very popular characters. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Um don't know anything about them. I've seen Jin a lot in Bleach opening 13, which is so far the best Bleach opening I've seen, and it's really cool. And I know Kenpachi from nothing, except he's like the second most favored Bleach character on Mal. So
Yeah.
I guess everyone likes him, so that's cool.
Renji's not too bad either. He's just your first impression is accurate, but
Yeah, he's kind of
over
a
time.
bitch. Whoops. Yeah,
Uh,
but you can tell he has heart. I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
speak to Renji because he obviously cares about Rukia in like a
Like
tsundere way,
yeah, he has all
and like
the
a tough
right.
guy way.
Yeah, like he definitely he can't do anything. His hands are tied, but he definitely cares.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. He's like your brother would probably like your brother will save you, and she's like, nah.
yeah, yeah.
I know this
Or
guy. He's not gonna save my ass.
or even that line where he like rushes to her like while they're still in the real world, and he's just like, "Don't do it. Like it'll add like 20 years to your sentence. Like come on. Like what are you doing? Like It's like so he
Yeah,
clearly cares. Like he doesn't want to
yeah.
see her rot. Okay, so I think like we covered most of the first arc. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to bring up that I haven't brought up yet, but if not, I guess last thing I wanted to ask, like, what do you think of like the pacing for like this whole arc, like overall?
I mean, I really can't say it has been too fast because it's mostly been like episodic Monster of the Week pacing. So, because I know people say that like Bleach has really fast pacing. I feel like it hasn't really been fast. I feel like it's just been kind of normal. Um, if anything, it's kind of slower than a lot of series are these days. But I feel like back in the day, our day, it would probably be considered fast. But I feel like this has just been pretty like balanced between slice of life, antics, and action, like a good mix of it. So I would just call it normal pacing.
But
How
like,
do I?
okay, but
Yeah.
like not too slow. Like it didn't lose you. Like you
No,
weren't like, this
no,
is like taking forever, or this is like not
no.
interesting. Okay,
I will say I read 35 chapters today and I cut myself off because we had to do the podcast and I didn't want to get too far ahead
yeah,
for the next arc,
makes
but I
sense.
could have kept going.
Well,
So
let me tell you, keep your let's put a pin in the pacing thing, and we'll talk about it with the
we'll
next arc.
see.
Yeah.
Well, we will see if we get too much pace. We will get too fast. Do you think it'll be too fast pacing or
Do you want me to? No,
What
no,
was
no,
your
no. Well,
memory?
I'm
What
not.
is
I'm
your
not.
memory?
I'm not speaking negatively. I think it's not a
What is
negative
your
thing.
memory of the pacing from when you first read it?
Were we talking about the first arc or the second arc? Oh, sorry, are we talking about like this very first arc?
Guess this arc.
This one's tough because like I like watched the anime, and so I was like really into the anime, and then like I think the
Mm-hmm.
anime also shortens it. I'm not too sure because it is just 20 episodes, so you get to like
Yes.
episode 20, and then that's the end of the arc. Versus I think there was a lot of stuff they kind of cut out and like gags and shit, so like it does feel a little longer in the manga. I think you get more time in those like the monster of the week, the slice of life moments.
Yeah.
But like when I skipped to the manga, I was already so hyped about the current arc, which at the time was the
Yeah.
Aaron Carr arc, that I was just trying to fly through like all of the beginning stuff to just get to the current
Yeah.
stuff. So I wasn't really like appreciating like the details. As for now, like I think aside from like the first volume or two, like which is like a little bit like, oh, this is a little slower than usual. This kind of reminds me of like older
Mm-hmm.
anime, like you said. That was like a little bit like a little not too slow, but I definitely felt it. And then, but it was interesting. Like just like oh, like
Yeah.
seeing all the foundational stuff. But then after that, I think definitely after the Don Kanonji stuff, which is like again the medium, like spirit medium guy,
Yeah, that guy. That was funny.
like then it like really starts to kick up with
Yes.
the Uryu stuff, and then it's just like very
Yeah.
interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
would say as soon as Uryu gets introduced, that's when it really like kicks into gear.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'd say that was like a turning point where I feel like the momentum was really building, and that was cool to see.
But it definitely didn't actually like just feel slow for me again because again I'm not reading it weekly, I'm binging it, and I'm getting to like see the full vision again of like the whole thing with like Ichigo's like flashback with his mom and that whole backstory, like everything else kind of that informs his character was all just
Yeah.
very interesting to see. So even though like sure it wasn't super fast, I was still like compelled by like oh okay this explains like a lot of things that I wasn't seeing before. So I was very like drawn in by it. So
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And it's really cool to feel nostalgic for something I didn't experience as a kid. It's just very nostalgic to a lot of series growing up. And that's like,
yeah,
it's a cool thing.
that's
Like,
crazy. Like how do you feel like now like coming into it? You know?
it's interesting because it's like, it's so back. I feel so backwards where I've heard everything that could be said about Bleach, knowing none of the context of it. So now it's kind of like, okay, it's almost like two ends of the extreme of like when you hear nothing about a series and you get to form your own opinion versus you hear everything about a series, so it muddles everything and you still form your own opinion. So like I feel like I'm kind of just back at square one where we'll get to see if it slays or like I don't know, we'll get to see, but it's cool. It's coming. It's I'm very glad I'm experiencing it now and not when it was coming out weekly or like publishing weekly.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's definitely a good time to read it. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
cool. And it does it feel like also now, like now that you're sort of experiencing it firsthand, like a lot of things, maybe in discourse or things that you heard, like a lot of things are now like in shonen, like clicking in place, and you're like, huh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be more evident, but like like we mentioned before, like the 2,000 years too early to challenge me thing. That already feels like a classic. Like someone mentioned before, you're slow even to fall. That feels like a classic cool guy line. That like I don't know if I've heard that elsewhere. I might have. But it's like you already get some of the like tropes and stereotypes of like here are the different types of like antagonists who aren't really like hateable. They're just like happen to be antagonists. Like they might be good guys in the future. They might not.
Yeah.
But it does remind me of like the only thing that's been similar is like going back to watch Yu Yu Hakusho, which I saw also not as a kid, but I saw that a couple years ago. I think in like 2019, and that's where I'm like, oh, so that's where all of this comes from. That's cool. Like seeing Hiei and Yu Yu Hakusho, I
Yeah.
was like, wow, he started the trend of edgy villain turn good guys who are like have the coolness of being a bad guy but are aligned with the good guys. Like that whole thing is so cool to see, and I think I'm seeing something similar now also. Like Urahara, he feels very Gojo-esque, like
Yeah.
even down to something as similar as like he has the hat that covers his eyes, and then when Ichigo does the cool move and he slashes his hat, we get to see him without his eyes, and it feels like, okay, we've made some progress. And like obviously it happens differently with Gojo, but that whole idea of like, here's the jovial senpai, and then we get to see that, like, what are they really like when they're like going all out. Something like that is just feels very reminiscent of, what we see now. So.
And do you feel like it holds up too? Like, because sometimes, like, I've had the experience of like when you go to the original source or you go to something a little older, you're like, oh, I would have liked this when I was that age, but now because I'm watching it like so much later and I've seen so much stuff, it's sort of like, I kind of see more of what's wrong with it, or I don't like it as much. But you don't feel like that's the case here?
No, because I feel like I'm kind of like uncovering history. It's like when you go back and watch like a classic movie. So it's always contextualizing the idea of like the things that I've seen that are inspired by it came afterwards. Like this is the origin. It's like you're like like when you're a kid and you go to those like fake dinosaur exhibitions, and then you're like digging up the sand and you're like, this used to be a dinosaur. Like that's kind of the feeling. I'm not like, oh yeah, boring, I've seen a dinosaur before. But also I think it's cool just because I've seen so many battle shonen that are not the big three, that I feel like it's cool just to go back and experience it and say like, oh, this is what I would have been watching as a kid if I, wasn't watching Magical Girl series nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be the you that you are now in order to really be
the
into
me
it.
that I am now. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Just to answer Jay Delabeat earlier in the chat, he said, what led us to covering this? I think we kind of already, Shaw kind of like said the reasons. It's more of so like, Shaw hadn't read it. I hadn't reread it in a long time. And it was sort of like, just kind of that interest to see like what we would come away from it now, like who we are now, like experiencing Bleach in like 2024, like, and seeing how we'd feel about it, especially now that the discourse for it has been like very overwhelmingly positive and it's been coming back, especially with the new anime. So we're like, so it'd be cool like to just explore like these foundational series together, both if we get to the other big three as well. So it's just kind of like just that whole exploring thing.
Long time coming.
Yeah,
long time coming for me, especially also like we've been anime fans for so many years. It feels fraudulent of me to be in the anime community and have series that like people have seen that I haven't, that are so big. I'm like, we're just going back to form. Also, I've been promising to do this for years and I've been putting it off too long. Through no fault of Bleach, just I'm a mess with scheduling. So
once again,
no fault of anyone but me.
Thank you for keeping it under wraps so we could have it exclusively here.
Yeah. I'm excited to be like, surprise, Bleach time.
Bleach time. Streams being weekly. We'll work on that. Well, it depends on.
We'll work on that. I will say it'll depend on how soon we catch up, because it's completely reliant on like when I can binge stuff. So like, it's like definitely any holdup is on my part. So like now, like we had this episode. This is the first arc. Now the next one is I think like the first part of the Soul Society arc.
Yeah. I think we might be splitting that into two.
Yeah, according to some random website I saw where it breaks them down.
Yeah.
So breaking it down into like 2 different episodes for that. So that's like the gameplay. And we're definitely going to split them up. Like we'll probably have multiple episodes for each arc. It's not going to be like, okay, every episode will be one arc, because the arcs do get really big.
Yeah, because we also we want to take our time and we want to make sure we cover enough of Bleach, like that we felt like we kind of got it, like understood it and sort of like really dug in. Yeah.
And then also if I like catch up to the anime, which is like the game plan, that'll be like, we can have that be part of the talk too. So like
that'd be cool. Would you want to do the last arc as like would you want to just do the anime and just stick with that, or would you want to read the manga first, the manga arc?
I'd probably read the manga first and then see the anime for that.
And compare and like do more of a comparison stream. That'd be cool too. Okay.
That'd be cool. That would be cool to see. I'm not if I'm gonna get to like the last arc, I'm not holding back on the manga just because the anime is coming out. Yeah, so it'd be cool to do both.
Well, big announcement then. I've decided to finally just read the Haikyuu manga and just finish it.
Yay! So let everyone.
My friends were just like, because they already finished it like a while ago when it ended, and they were like, why don't you just finish it? I'm like, no, I'm waiting for the anime. I'm like, dude, it's gonna take forever. I'm like, the movie's coming out, and they're like, that's not all of it, and they might not adapt the epilogue. And I'm like, all right, okay, you know what? Whatever. I'll probably read it.
Are we gonna do Haikyuu series 2. I could talk about that.
I'm down.
That'll be crazy.
I think I got a lot of arcs to cover because it's pretty much where the anime last ended. So from there to the end, I got. So
we got more. That'll be exciting. Haikyuu podcast too. That'll be. How many times can I say goat and generational in a podcast? We'll have to do like a word count.
We'll do
How
like
many times we'll say that?
Counter that pops up.
Counter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
does anyone? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say if anyone has any suggestions for what they would like us to cover as like, first time Bleach reading and then a reread and then watching Bleach, like if there's anything that you guys want us to cover or any questions you have, essentially any questions or suggestions, we're very open to that. Yeah, that's just like our general game plan. But
yeah, we're definitely planning to do it on a semi-consistent basis. Like, I don't know if it'll be weekly, but like maybe every 2 weeks or like something, or maybe consistent enough that like it won't be like months, like for the next arc.
Yeah.
We might do something else in between though, since I know it's like award season, so we might do that. But besides,
we need you to keep me from turning it into the Jujutsu Kaisen Awards. So
we'll balance it out. We should like have like a spreadsheet of like we list all the nominees and just one section is just all Jujutsu Kaisen.
The Jujutsu Kaisen Awards.
It's like the only option. It is the only option, and then mine is like the one with the actual other options.
Yes.
It's like
but yeah. Bleach movies. I didn't know about that. Yeah, we'll Bleach movies it up. That'll be funny.
I don't know if I'm signing up for that.
Are they bad?
I don't know. I mean, you got to pick. We're either doing the fillers or we're doing the movies. So.
Okay.
You're like, let's do both.
Let's do both. Okay, Radman's got us for the JJK Awards. Also, I don't know if you were in chat before, but you got mentioned in a Yahoo article. I'll have to send that to you. I'm still on that. That's so funny. But yeah. So we got plans. We got plans for the series.
But yeah, that's all
Shaolin
we have.
Showdown talk. Damn, sorry, I just saw in chat Shaolin Showdown talk. I could make a series of that. That would be fun.
I never watched that.
You didn't? That's a fun cartoon. That's a really fun like kids WB Saturday morning cartoon. So
I'll check it out.
We'll have to check that. But for now, what were you saying? I keep cutting you off.
No, it's okay. I'm used to it. No, I'm kidding. No, all I was gonna say was like that kind of covers like everything we had about this first arc, but now I was just gonna open it up to questions. So if there's anything we missed or anything that you want us to address about the first arc or anything you're curious about that we didn't bring up, just sound off in the chat.
Yeah, chat.
Yeah, because that's
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, since Radman responded, yeah, you're in a Yahoo article talking about the Young Thug trial, and your tweet is mentioned in it. I'm gonna send it to you on Twitter after this. But you're like just in this Yahoo Entertainment article, and I've been laughing at that for like half of the podcast, so I have to send that to you. Also, C5TG said, I need a captain ranking and a fraud ranking. We will be there because I really like calling people frauds, and I feel like Renji's already set up to be a fraud. Unfortunately, it's only been like 70 chapters. He's already set up to be a fraud. I don't know who the other frauds will be.
I mean, while people are maybe forming questions, do you want to do a preliminary character ranking that will update by the end of each arc?
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, can I just do like a top 5?
Yeah, we're gonna do just rank the characters.
Okay, are you gonna do one too, or is it just me?
Both of us.
Questions.
It wouldn't make sense if it wasn't both of us.
Sorry, to this question, Askin asked this before. Did you read the volume poems? They're a good bit of characterization. So I don't know if I read those, but I'm gonna go back and read those because you called them out. So I will be doing that. And then Radman asked.
I read some of them. I just didn't because I was just sort of just trying to focus on the chapters. I didn't really get them at first, and I was like, maybe I got to do a little more reading about them. But yeah, I didn't really dig into them. I just sort of would read them and sort of not think too much about them. So, but I know that there's something more there that it's alluding to. So.
Yeah, we'll have to read that and discuss. Because we'll have to make that a point of being like, what do you think of the poem chapters? I'm also I don't know about you. This is a very me opinion. of like I'm really bad with poetry. Like I respect it as an art form, but a lot of it doesn't like inherently vibe with me. So I
Yeah.
have to really sit down and be like, okay, here is the intention of the poetry. Um,
Yeah, I'm kind of this. I'm kind of the same, or at least similar, because I didn't want to sound basic, but like if I don't get it at first glance, I'm just not compelled to just like sit there and try to pick it apart. I'm just like, all right,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Not to like devalue it. It's just like it just doesn't draw
yeah.
me
It
in.
doesn't like inherently click with you.
Yeah,
Um, yes.
yeah.
So we're on the same boat. So we'll have to put our
Especially
thinking
like
cap on and
especially
be
I
like,
think let me like specify like especially when poetry is like very descriptive, like very figurative, like when it gets like too like abstract where you don't even know where it's referencing. It's like, all right, okay, too much
you
imagery,
know
I'm
what?
good.
The poetry I like is like I'm still at the like elementary school where the sidewalk has no end. That kind of poetry. That's where I'm at. That's like
Yeah,
my
the
favorite
simple poetry.
poetry.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's where I'm at.
yeah.
That's where I'm mentally at. So we'll see. Redman asked, you might have missed this, but Ichigo's backstory and really simple character motivation of wanting to protect people. We did spend a whole section talking about that, but in short, we really, I say we both were on the same page that we really like that how Ichigo is really dedicated towards protecting people more so than like attacking others, and then also how like his motivation for protecting people is connected to like people he knew dying from hollows, not so much like any allegiance to organizations or with upstanding the like status quo. So
Yeah.
we did talk about that a lot. So,
And I
but yeah,
said
that's just
even
the long and short
though
of it.
yeah, and I said even though it's simple, it's effective. Like it works for,
Yes,
Ichigo's characterization. Like it's powerful and relatable.
and I think you like appreciated a lot on reread. I think
Yeah.
that's like
Like
yeah,
definitely something I never realized before that was always kind of there, which was really cool to see.
yeah, and that was cool. That was I mean, it was a cool. It's cool to establish those kind of like simple but practical and also compelling character motives. I think I've come to terms with those being like the ones that resonate with me the most, rather than like characters who want to achieve like larger than life goals.
Yeah.
Because I'm boring, I guess, but and I will highlight it. I understand like protecting the day to day and the day to day people rather than like I want to be number one.
You're just built different.
Um,
Oh, you're
built
you're you're,
different.
you're not gonna have fun with Naruto then.
No, I'll probably like it. Believe it. Sorry. We'll see about that.
All
We'll
right,
see.
in the world of Bleach, would you rather be a Hollow, a Shinigami, a Quincy, or a Kon?
Well, definitely not Khan because he got like
Well,
trapped in
a mod
stuff.
soul, a mod soul.
Still, definitely not that because he has to get trapped in a stuffed animal body and then he's like taped to the back of a toilet for hours. So like that sucks. I probably a Shinigami. They look really cool and they have like black robes. They seem like the coolest. And I'm not really too sure how different they are from Quincy's for right now.
We'll we'll
So it'll be
we'll bring back this question every arc, but for now, definitely a Shinigami. Because why would
yeah.
I want to be a Hollow like that?
Yeah, because they're gonna just hunt my ass down and I'll just like terrorize people. Like that would just suck. Um,
Um. Okay. Oh, I don't see any other questions. So character ranking.
okay. I will say top five. Who do I like the most so far?
Ichigo.
Okay. Ichigo might have. I mean, Ichigo might have to be top one. Okay. Just like a visceral, because we haven't gotten too much of the character so far.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten a good introduction. Okay.
I think this is just based off this arc, so no worries. This can and will change in the next arc.
Okay. I will say Ichigo, Rukia, Urahara, Orihime, and then Uryu.
Oh, no Chad?
No Chad yet. Not yet.
Not
the
Chad enough
yet.
for you?
Not yet. I can't imagine Chad losing though in the upcoming arcs. I remember that meme. I know that meme. That was the original "Nah, I'd win." Is I can't even imagine Chad losing. So I'm excited for the context of that. Also, I want to say one thing before he actually gets introduced as a character. I went on Mal, and of course I know about like Aizen. Like I know about Aizen. He has one. He's born one day after me. I was this close to having the same birthday as Aizen, and I'm so pissed I don't.
You're fucking Aizen!
I'm so pissed. Because whenever they do those things where you look up like which anime characters have the same birthday as you, like no good character has my birthday. It's
Damn.
so annoying. So I
Really?
could have had
I would
Aizen.
think people. I would think your birthday is a little more common. It's not.
Apparently not.
No.
It's just the exact day. Let's see. Anime
Well,
characters.
take solace in the fact that at least you guys are the same zodiac sign.
We are. We're both Geminis, so
There
we're
you go.
insane. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because that stuck out to me, and I was like, it was so close. And then I'm like, no, no dice. So that sucks. But we move forward.
I think.
We
Hold
keep
on.
moving forward.
Yeah. Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to think of my.
Are you looking
list
up your
here.
birth?
No, no, no.
Yeah, who's your top 5?
Let me think. I'm trying to like also remember like all the characters because there are like characters that range in like just being like side characters to having more screen time.
Oh, we used your birth. Redman shares a Gemini. All the Gemini besties, we get it. There's a birthday with Medea. That's like amazing one. That's the homeless guy in Gintama.
Oh, okay.
It's the best birthday. Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, so Janbro shares a birthday with Ruinthal. Okay, that's a fantastic character to share a birthday with. I do not have anyone. I'm so jealous.
Damn, that's awesome.
That's a great one. I'm so mad. I'm so close to having.
All right, I think my favorite characters are Ichigo, Rukia, Uryu, Zangetsu, Urahara.
Okay. So the sword.
Yeah.
Sagas.
Yeah, the fucking
So they're
sword.
like their own. They're their own character.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I guess.
I will keep that in mind.
I mean, as long as it has a personality, I think we could count it as a character.
No, for sure. I just was like, wait, so this will be like its own person and not just like sword. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so everyone in chat has a better birthday than I do. C5TG has also a Gemini and has a birthday with Nadeko. That's dope.
Nice.
Angst has one with Shinji, who
Hell
don't
yeah.
have many hospital visits. And then the one in white shares a birthday with Leorio. So literally everyone has a better birthday, and they're also Gemini.
A lot
So
of
they
Geminis
get
in
the
the chat.
benefit.
You guys
Gemini,
are awesome.
shout out to my Geminis in the chat. Wait, who shares your birthday?
Me?
Yeah.
Anime characters? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no one shares my birthday. Hold on. Like, my birthday,
Oh,
like,
no.
barely anyone shares it. How would you look up anime characters? What's a quick way? Just like
I just typed in my birthday and then anime characters, and then they have a website.
Hold on, I just put anime birthday. List of anime characters. All right, there's 2 sites.
Yep.
All right, let's see what we got. Who the hell? Okay, all right, I got Sailor Uranus.
You win, I guess. That you win.
I guess so. Oh, I got a Bleach character, but
Oh, you do?
you don't know her yet, and she's not like she's like a kind of like a side character, not memorable. Let's see. Who are these people?
Yeah, I have a lot of random bozos. Oh, I have the one girl from White Album 2. I don't want to share a birthday with her. I don't want that. Yeah, my birthday sucks. I could have been Aizen. Damn it.
Damn.
Do not have the chosen one birthday.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone notable.
It sucks. Okay.
That
Chat
sucks.
has better birthdays than us.
Damn. Kind of sad.
And-
Not the chosen ones.
Yeah. Okay, before we sign off,
right.
Back to our character ones. Who do you think will be my favorite character by the end of the series, and who was your favorite character originally before we started the rewatch this series?
I mean, I think originally, I think Chad would have been higher on my list. Not like number 1, just higher on my list, like probably in the top 5, but not now.
Okay.
I don't know. I think originally, for this arc, it still would have been like Ichigo. So that one's kind of easy because like Ichigo's like the most fleshed out character in this arc.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So I'd say Ichigo. But you want me to guess who would be your favorite by the end, or
By the end of the series, yeah.
that's a tough one. Uh, hmm. Urahara.
You think? Yeah.
I'm going for the easy guess.
Yeah. I feel like I see the vision too. He seems really cool.
The thing is also there's going to be a lot more characters introduced, so it's like
Yes.
it's hard to like really, kind of like think of them because it might be one of the other characters actually.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be excited. I don't know who to predict. But I think he's cool so far. Also for chat, here's a spoiler for incentive to come back to our stream. My mom randomly bought me a t-shirt with a Bleach character on it because she said it looked really cool. And she has no knowledge of Bleach. She doesn't know that I have not seen Bleach until now. She just bought me this shirt, and I will wear it on stream when that character gets introduced. Anyone who guesses right wins bragging rights. So let's take a guess on who do you think is cool enough to be on a shirt that my mom bought. So
Wait a second.
that's the leave a comment if you can make this prediction.
Wait a second. Okay, I have a guy that's on. He's on the Aoba Josai volleyball team with Oikawa.
Okay, you win. You did find a good birthday.
He's kind of a rando, but at least he's their wing spiker. So
yeah,
he's at least graced by Oikawa's presence.
Wait, what's his name?
I'm probably bad because I just don't remember him. Takahiro Hanamaki.
Okay, I don't know him. I was gonna say if it's Iwazumi, I would be like,
yeah, no. I think I'd remember his face.
Okay, gotta remember Iwa-chen. Yeah, yeah. So I think you win. Yeah, but I have the girl. I won't spoil that series, but yeah, no, I don't have good people with my birthday except like one dude from Revolutionary Girl Utena. So whatever.
Chat's just like shouting out like names of like characters you don't know yet that they're just calling. We should just have like a chat. Oh, okay.
That's who they think is on my shirt.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, so you don't know who's on your shirt?
I do know who's on my shirt, but I looked them up. So
sorry, I missed like half of it because I was like looking up this birthday.
You needed to know the birthday. Yeah, so I think I told you about this, but essentially a Bleach character who hasn't been introduced yet my mom bought me a t-shirt with them on it, and she doesn't know anything about it, but she's like, this looks so cool, I had to get this. So I told everyone to guess, and anyone who guesses correctly wins like bragging rights.
Okay.
They can be the Bleach of the week or
Gemini
of the week.
We should rock Aizen shirts for that arc.
Do we wear like? I can't spoil that because I can't spoil how much I know about Aizen, but I know probably more than.
I think we gotta wrap it up. We're spoiling too much.
Yeah. We're spoiling too much of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes perfect sense. But yeah, so I think this is a good start. I would say, I don't know how I would rank this arc or rate it, but I mean, I can't rank it. It's the first arc.
I think we can rank it like when we're done. Like at the end. We'll rank all
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's a good intro to the series. I'm very much invested. I think they've laid the foundations quite well, and I'm excited to keep going. So
yeah, this arc definitely isn't the arc that like makes Bleach. Like you said, it's more of the foundational one. Like what makes Bleach is still to come. So
yes,
or like gave it its reputation. So
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Thanks to everyone who joined, and thanks for everyone listening. I'm excited to hopefully everyone keeps coming back and we get to talk with everyone. They have a lot of really great insights. Shout out to chat. Great questions and insights. Feels like more of a conversation with like the Just Weebs hive. So
yeah, it was fun. Oh, you used it. You finally used it.
I did. Yeah, well, you'll have to explain that one next time.
We do. I was going to explain it on our last stream, and we just kind of went straight into Jujutsu Kaisen, that I just like forgot about it.
As one does, yeah.
Yeah. We'll give you context for that later. It's funny. All right, guys. Like, thanks for coming on. It was actually a lot of fun, and we can't say for sure when we'll be back, but hopefully soon. We at least will be doing the legwork of finishing up the next arc or catching up to the next arc in the meantime.
You will know what we will be doing between this stream and one of the future streams. So
yeah, and we might do awards sometime in between.
Jujutsu Kaisen Award.
I'm really the one that has to do the legwork for that because, again, Shaw's just defaulting. just to
Okay.
Yours is just going to be not a list of nominees, just a list of winners, and they're all going to be the same.
Yeah, so the Jujutsu Kaisen winner of this award is, and then it's just whatever.
Can we have like an award called the Jujutsu Kaisen Award, and that's the only award that's not given to Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, that would be funny. Don't spoil the awards. That would be funny. That would be really funny, actually. I think we should do that.
All right, we'll talk about it. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming on.
Thanks everyone.
And
Stay tuned.